Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's one of those days, guys. It's one of those days. What do I mean by that? It's just one of those days. I'm searching for articles, right? It's not much out there. It's not much out there. But let's get into it. So, disclaimer. Let's do the disclaimer. Yes. Yes, YouTube. That is me. I'm live. Yes. Am I hooked up? How was your day yesterday? Yesterday, Monday, I think we hit that July patch. It's like you had the holidays, and now it's just like July, right? Just going through the motions. Let's see. I went running yesterday, guys. And for some reason, I feel because I did stairs like twice in the middle of the run. You know what I realized? Running can be tiring a little bit. It really can. As I find this disclaimer real quick. So, disclaimer. What TV on? Yeah, that's what I cut on now. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution that you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Let's rock out. Now, you probably thinking, I say that every day, and I still mess up sometimes. That's normal, right? That's like completely normal. Mute that. Like I said, guys, I like to have stuff on in the background. Nothing major, right? And so, as I'm doing that, because things take time with technology. Yeah, just throw out something right quick for us. They are hiding. Let's get that real quick because you don't got time to wait on me. Yeah, do not have time for that. All right. So first things first is Dr. Matthew Soldner, new NCES. For all my people out there who don't know what NCES is, that is the National, let me see if I get it right, National College Education Statistics. Let's see if I got that right. I think that's what it's called. I got it wrong. It's the National Center for Education Statistics. Don't know why I said college. It's the National Center for Education Statistics. And so it might seem not important, and guys, it's not going to be that important to you all. Like I said, everything I talk about initially it comes to light later. And that's usually how it goes in this type of career field, except for like when you're paying like direct tuition. Paying direct tuition can hit fast, right? Things happening on campus that can hit fast, right? But as far as like this, for example, like Dr. Matthew Soldner, that can hit pretty late. That can come pretty late. So he's the U.S. Department of Education announced Dr. Matthew Soldner will serve as the acting commissioner of the National Center for Education Statistics. Why this is important is because National Center for Education Statistics, I don't know why I was going to say it wrong, but known as NCES. NCES is very known for getting research, or of course, as it's in the name, statistics or data. I pulled from this place a lot in graduate school when, having to make a case depending on what's the topic. They have a range of topics. That's what leads into the iPeds, yeah, IPEDS, iPeds. And they similarly go together sometimes, but they're different distinctions, but they go together. And so he's going to be serving as the NCES. And they said he will serve as the acting director of the Institute of Education Sciences. So, well, that's what he served as since 2024. That was his old position. And I'm looking at this for the first time with you all too, guys. This is just, I think they posted this today. No, they posted it yesterday, but it had to be afterwards because I didn't see this yesterday. So it probably was like after the live stream, probably afternoon. And then as we keep going, and let's keep in mind, the whole goal is to dismantle the Department of Education. That's the whole goal. So keep that in mind. So when people are getting these positions, just keep in mind that their interest is probably not to keep everything running fluidly, smoothly. They're probably trying to mess up things, which it hurts me a little bit because you have to be very selective where you get the information because then the information won't be accurate, you know. So you have to be a little careful. I have to be a little careful. It says, well, they're just talking about what he is as a leader. So as I keep looking at Dr. Matthew Soldner, he got his PhD from the University of Maryland's College of Education. So he got an education background, a doctoral background. And they said his interests include the use of rigorous evidence to improve education policy and practice and the implementation and evaluation of efforts to improve learners post-secondary and workforce outcomes. So the first part I like, he wants to improve education policy and practice. So I found that interesting. But first, let me actually go to the control room because I'm not in the control room. So if you said something in the comment section, I don't even know because I'm not. I don't think nobody said anything. Not yet. Join from here. And then as I keep going, go back to the Department of Education. Sorry, my face, some colors blended. Okay. They say, well, he said I began my career. There you go. The NCES has a long, so for all my people who don't know what NCES, and you're probably like, why does it matter to me? Or don't, you know, it might not matter to you. But it's always good to know about something, right? NCES has a long history of producing relevant, accurate, and objective statistical data about our nation's education system that are critical for policymakers, educators, and parents alike. So, guys, when I say some parents research and look at, you know, the education system, trying to see what's the best school. It happens more than we think. It happens more than we think. Parents are really concerned about their kids' education. The parents who really care about education and understand the value of education, they will really go look at this information. So it says, I look forward, right? I don't know if this is him talking, but it says, I look forward to extending that legacy and recommitting NCES to providing objective, neutral, and non-ideological information and statistics as we work toward a modernized and re-imaged IES. Because that's the set that he will be in, I believe, the IES. And so it wasn't much on that. It's not that much on that. It wasn't going to be a long spiel. I didn't even last long, probably like 5 minutes. But Dr. Matthew Soldner, if you see that name, just keep in mind he is part of the NCES now. And he is the new, one of the new acting commissioners. And yeah. All right, that was very short, right? I don't think it's gonna be a long live stream, but we will see. We will see. We will see. So one that was interesting to me, and it comes with an article. I think I could. I could go for about an hour on this one. I really think this live stream is gonna be an hour and 15, guys. I'm not gonna hold you long if I'm not talking about nothing. That's an insult to my time and your time. I would love to go for 2 hours, but sometimes we don't have 2 hours worth of information. So, wealthy families are buying homes in Texas. So, as you know, the headline is wealthy families buy homes in Texas. That's crazy. So they said students from outside of Texas are buying condos in the state to benefit from a law that allows them to pay in-state tuition rates. After 1 year of just owning a home, students can earn resident status and save nearly $100,000 on the price of their remaining education. So I'm starting to think, guys, real quick. I'm gonna upload this. I think this is a media post, journal, like a blog post. Education looks like an actual post. So, guys, as I zoom out on my screen, if you, so I don't know if this is universal. I don't know if that's a universal plan or universal thing, I'm gonna say. So usually if you, I got a question like that before. Some people want to go to schools that's out of state. I got questions like that prior to doing live streams, right? And they would ask me like, hey, I want to be out of state too. I want to go to a school that's out of state pretty much. And now I'm not talking about schools that are in your radius or not in your radius. I'm not talking about schools that are in your radius or not in your radius. I'm talking about schools that are that are literally out of your state. And how can I put it? If you have the money, it's like these wealthy people. If you have the money, you can buy a home in another state, but you have to wait 1 year. And I believe it's like that in Georgia as well. Here in Georgia, when I was in my 2 year, I used to see that often. They would say it's a sticky situation. They would say it's a sticky situation because you have to live in that household for 1 year. And when you live in that house for 1 year, or that resident for 1 year, then you become an in-state student or in-state resident. So you don't have to pay the out-of-state fees. Because, when we do our breakdown at the end, usually it costs you what? Like an extra, they say it's nearly 100. It's like a extra $100,000, which makes sense because you remember you got to account for the years you're going to be at the institution. On top of they're going to charge you a lot more. They are charging you a healthy fine and fee, and I really can't get into too much of that, but I can speak on it a little. And I think the reason they charge you a lot more money if you're out of state, like for example, if I'm in Georgia but I'm going to school in like Boston, is because of the tax difference. Because you got to remember, schools are paying taxes, and if they getting money from another state, that could be a problem right there. And that's another reason why we should have a tax person in here, because taxes play a role in everything. Taxes are like that. You know what taxes remind me of? The tax system, or a person who do taxes, or the name taxes itself reminds me of like somebody who does behind the scenes work and you don't know about them until that time comes up every time. That's what tax season reminds me of every time, because I know it has something to do with taxes. That's the only reason they would charge so much more. Unless they really are charging that much for out of state students, that makes no sense. Out of state students shouldn't be charged an arm and a leg if they want to go to a school that's out of state. So I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt that it's due to tax reasons until somebody comes on and says no, Henry, it's not due to tax reasons. They just charging out of state students because they can, and then I'll be like, oh, that's not good. So they do have like a, I don't know if this is, who is this? Um, this is a news outlet. So some of this could be, to me, when I'm reading something from a news outlet, they say it's a news outlet. I believe College Higher Education. They said, yeah, KUT News. So some of this could be, a little inaccurate. I never really get caught up in news outlets because it can be very opinionated. But we're gonna get to talk about the meat and potatoes of it. So they said this was not a luxury apartment. I don't know what they're talking about. So this is owned by a news outlet. It said wealthy families are buying homes to get in-state tuition at Texas universities. So at Texas universities, yeah, wealthy families are buying homes to get in-state tuition at Texas universities. So like your University of Texas, Texas State, Texas A&M, and many more. Those Texas schools, right? And so we're not talking about 2 years because, like I said, universities. People will travel from different states just to go to school and big universities in Texas or big universities in general, right? So they said the place had popcorn ceilings, laminate countertops, and false marble bathroom sinks. The vinyl flooring was wrapped in places. What are they talking about? I'm talking about it literally starts off like that. But I'm not gonna read this whole thing. It's like a lot of it's a lot of paragraphs. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'll give you the main thing. It says right here that this is a story right here. Not a story, but something to talk about. Two recent graduates from the University of Texas Austin had moved out, and we did a review on this school, by the way. Had moved out weeks before. They hired cleaners had not come. Their hired cleaners had not come yet. So there was a layer of scum on the bathroom mirror and a damp smell the realtor blamed on ventilation, but which he later deemed West Campus signature scent, beer, vomit, and shoddy attempts to clean up both. He said, "You would smell it," said Miller Gill, realtor tasked with selling the 750 square foot condo last month. So what does this have to do with anything? Let's keep going because they're talking about the smell of a condo. And boom, boom, boom. They wasn't worried. The family from New Jersey agreed to buy the place to them and to many others across the country. This 1980s condo was more than its parts. It was a ticket to a cheaper college education. All right. So Gil wasn't worried about his bottom line. The week before, a family from New Jersey agreed to buy the place. To them and to many others across the country, this 1980s condo was worth more than its parts. It says the real ticket was a cheaper college education. That's why they wanted the condo. Because as we talked before, the headline has been in Texas. Texas has passed a law for in-state residents to for in-state. It was a law about in-state residents. Let me see. I'm gonna just type in Texas in-state tuition law. It's a very new law. Let me see. There we go. I remember why I didn't talk about this, guys. This happened in June, actually. I seen it. I just didn't talk about it. And then because I felt at first, it must have been other bigger things, and I didn't feel like I can go really into it. But now I can. So it says right here from U.S. News. Not saying it's credible, but it does say about the Oh, that's why I didn't talk about it. Yep, that's why I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it because it was a shot at the crackdown on immigration. So back in June, what's the date? June 5th, federal judge blocks Texas law allowing in-state tuition for students without legal residency. So what they were saying at the time, a federal judge on Wednesday blocked a Texas law that for decades has given college students without legal residency access to reduced in-state tuition. So no, later. I don't want to subscribe. And they said, so if you didn't have legal residence, in simple terms, if you didn't have legal residence, you were still able to get reduced in-state tuition, which is crazy. And so, because I know in Georgia we can't do that. In Georgia, you have to be a resident in Georgia in order to get in-state tuition. And so, and you know, that's more on the mission side. I have never worked in admissions directly, more like worked with them. And so I do remember admissions talking about that. Like they'll say something along the lines of, "Oh, you gotta have like a year residency, or you have to be on the lease of that person, or something like that, in order to get in-state tuition. If not, we gotta charge you out-of-state tuition." And so they're saying what the Trump administration did, they had cracked down on immigration. So if you are an immigrant, for example, if you don't have residency of living in Texas, pertaining this is Texas specifically, you are not getting in-state tuition. So what does that do? That blocks them off from getting cheaper tuition, because tuition is a lot more expensive when you're trying to pay out of state. And when you're paying out of state tuition, that's a lot more expensive. And that's a real big problem. Shout out to the 2 views we got. Shout out to the 2 views we got. Trying to get this thing jumping a little bit. We cooking now. We cooking. We making information out of nothing, because that definitely leads to our last headline. As I keep going, so that is why, because I was like, we missing something. I was like, I seen it posted, but I was like, we missing something. So now we're gonna go back to why they're buying up the homes, or hopefully they can give us a little story about that, the news. And so they said Texas lets out-of-state students buy homes to get in-state tuition. That's what they're saying. Don't know if that's a fact, but they said Texas lets out-of-state students buy homes to get in-state tuition. The law has fed. They said the law has fed a niche but growing industry of real estate agents like Gil, who specialize not only in buying homes but also helping primarily California, Illinois, and New York bred students use these homes to save tens of thousands of dollars on a degree from a public university. And as we know, guys, you are going to pay about a house to get a degree, usually from bigger schools, stand on campus, da da da. And so they're saying that, because, like I said, people come from across the world, different states, just to go to these colleges. Why? I do not know. Put it out for you guys. That could be a little annoying, I know. And so, actually, put it back this way. I'm just sliding y'all over. That's actually a little better. But it's blocking me a little bit. That's why. But that's better. And so, what we was? Yeah, they pay tens of thousands of dollars, but they said they let out-of-state students buy homes. It says the law. We read that part. What was I? But also helping primarily California. We read that part too. So they quoted, it's the tuition savings. That's better. It's the tuition savings that is the big seller here, said Ryan. His name is Ryan, another realtor who has helped families use property to secure in-state tuition. Is it really that deep? It's really that deep. But it's wealthy families, man. These families can buy homes. Well, I don't think they're buying them, but let's get into that, because I think they said they are buying. They're not renting, they're buying. So KUT News spoke with realtors. So they spoke to these people directly. So that's factual a little bit. They said they spoke with realtors, former and current students and parents, and sifted through property and university records. I don't believe them university records personally, but university records to understand how wealthy families use home ownership to save on college tuition. This is interesting. You need to pay attention to the wealthy. Here is how it works. Incoming freshmen buy condos with the help. So incoming freshmen buy condos. Incoming freshmen. That's crazy. Buy condos with the help of their parents, okay? Either by paying in cash or co-signing a mortgage. Students have to own the homes for only a year, as we said, before they can use them to apply for in-state tuition for the remaining semesters. A discount of upwards of $100,000 over 3 years. Now remember, guys, we said that when you because remember they're buying a house. This is gang. The wealthy are buying homes. Why? Because or they're buying homes so they can save on tuition. It's like a 2-for-1. I buy a home, my kid saves 100,000 or more on tuition, right? Then on top of that, what they just said, they save on tuition. I hope I didn't lose it. They save on tuition and they're buying a home. Yeah. So they're saving on tuition because remember when I said when you stay on campus, you're paying about $100,000 usually. Now that's if you stay on campus and get a meal plan. This is the wealthy. That's what I was gonna say. This is the wealthy. The wealthy even said, I'm not paying for a meal plan. I'm not paying for on-campus housing. The wealthy said, I'm gonna go get a house off campus for my kid so my kid can commute to the campus. And then guess what? They can live in this house. When they graduate, they can apply to jobs in this area. And guess what they can do? Live out the house and build on. You see, the wealthy don't even stay on campus because they know it's bull crap. Like I said before, when you stay on campus, guys, it's no shot at you, but when you stay on campus, I'm going to change this to, I'm probably going to change the last one to staying on campus. When you stay on campus, oh, don't do that. So when you stay on campus, I just got to have something on, guys. It bothers me so much. When you stay on campus, I know what I'm about to say, but it's just really like, I just really need to set in. When you stay on campus, you have no privacy, as we talked about. You're sharing the bathroom, you're sharing a room, but you're paying like 13 grand. What? I just still, I have to say it like that because it's, y'all hear me clicking? Because my TV don't want to. It's delayed a little bit. And I just really, okay, it's fighting with me. It's fighting. It says, I don't like you. You're not putting nothing on in the background. And like, it's crazy how it does that to me, guys. I guess I'm not important enough. Yeah, I'm not important enough. It's okay. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna stop for this again. If it cut off, it cuts off. I just had to deal with it. So, sharing a bathroom, sharing a room has never been, I just never could make sense of that. I just could never make sense of that because it's bright out here. I could never make sense of that. But these wealthy families are playing the game how I played the game. I didn't know they played the game like that. I didn't know they was like, no, we're not staying on campus. We're not getting meal plans. We can buy you groceries. And then they probably like, look, you know, wealthy people are like very good with money. Wealthy people have budgets. They are going to be like, look, what I don't know what they talking about at these colleges. That's how they're gonna put it. That's something I would say. I don't know what they're talking about. You're gonna be able to spend maybe $200 on takeout food per month. $200, because that's like $100. It's every 2 weeks, so that's like $100 every 2 weeks that you're gonna take out food, which is very good. I feel like I don't really eat takeout food when I do my budget. Probably do it for like $60 to $80, but since things are going up, of course I have to raise it by like $5 to $10, which makes a big difference. Cause that's an extra $20, you know, per month. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. I see myself moving, but my time is not updated yet. Y'all see me? Hear me? I see. Good. I think I was. Can you hear and see me, G? I think we good. Yeah, I think we caught up now. That was me. I did not have my Wi-Fi on. That's the problem. I was live streaming without it. And so, but it usually do pretty good when I don't. I just realized it. So, we a little off. Okay, you back. I'm back. All right. I'm sorry about that, guys. Technical troubleshooting, typical stuff. But the wealthy, so yeah, the wealthy say I'm not letting you stay on campus. And I think that's interesting though when I read that line because they're buying condos. Like they're buying condos. And it's a good strategic move because I'm learning something as well. Oh yeah, what's up, G? I figured that was you in here. Been pretty good, pretty good. And so let's keep going. Students have to own. We read that part. Nearly half. So realtors know about this plan. Realtors know about this already. I never talked to a realtor, so I'm not sure if a realtor would tell me this, but I didn't know realtors being on the scoop. Like, hey, you trying to save money in college? We'll sell you a house. They know realtors really think like that. So nearly half a dozen realtors, some who have been doing this for more than a decade, they said, wow, they told the KUT News they collectively sell about 200 condos a year to University of Texas Austin students whose families use these homes to get in-state tuition. As we know, the University of Texas Austin was very expensive. Because it wasn't too long ago that we just reviewed the school. Did we write anything down? I don't think we wrote anything down for that. I think it's all on video. Yeah, I think it's all on video. So, but University of Texas was very expensive. It was very expensive. It was pretty expensive. And And they said many opt to sell the homes after 2 years. I didn't. Okay. Many opt to sell the homes after 2 years, often to other out-of-state families. Rinse and repeat. Okay, they rinse and repeating. So so we thought they were gonna stay there the whole time and let their kid just like live there, start paying on the house. They can live in Texas, but it says like after 2 years, the family takes a. Oh yeah, I'm getting it a little bit. Let's keep going. And then they'll sell it to another out of state family. Then the other out of state family can get they can get that residency for a year. And rinse and repeat, like we said. They said the arrangement is legal. Realtors said it has been accepted by large public universities for years. So universities have known about this large. But some, including those, I think that's just good financial acumen. Yeah, that's good financial acumen, but I feel like some people wouldn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know like people would rather. I would think you would try to get an apartment. You know, a family would put you in an apartment for residency, but the wealthy are buying condos though. They're buying condos. Gee, like they're buying them. Of course, they're moving out as we just read a little bit, but they're buying them. If you rich enough, you don't mind that. You don't mind that. Yeah, that debt. Yeah, that's good debt right there. Because I'm pretty sure they're selling it for more too. After 2 years, they're just selling it for more. So they really was like a little quick profit. Probably, yeah, definitely was a quick profit. And so they said the arrangement is legal. Realtors said it has been accepted by large public universities for years. But some, including those benefiting from the practice, question whether it's fair. Oh, this is them saying this. It's funny we was getting up on that part actually. This whole thing is a smart rich person thing. G, you just said that. They said Jake Silver, who started a consulting business helping out. He helps out of staters. That's literally what he said. Out of staters qualify for in-state tuition after his brother got in-state tuition at the University of Texas Austin by owning a condo. But the people who actually need to save the money are boxed out. Okay, keep cooking, keep cooking. I seen G say something real quick. And they just barred against it. It's right here. They headlined this in this, I don't know what to call this, a post or a blog. I don't want to say blog because it's probably like, I'm going to say a small journal because they actually talk to these people and they're quoting them. It's a buy, get, sell. Across the country, public universities have discounted tuition to students who grew up in that state. Okay. This coming school year, a University of Texas Austin student from San Antonio would pay about $10,000 a year in tuition and fees. That's about right. A student from San Francisco would pay about $40,000. Oh yeah, yeah. Over 4 years, someone from out of state could end up owing $120,000 more than a Texan for the same degree. This means there is a good business in helping families save. Yeah, it is. I don't understand why. I get why you want to go across the freaking states to go to one school that has the same degree because you feel like that school might offer more. So G said right here, because I'm gonna read that probably again. That's definitely our type of stuff right there. While my computer is buffering for some reason. G said this happens on a larger scale in Toronto, where Chinese buyers buy homes to hold wealth and gain citizenship to benefit, and Vancouver as well. How you know that, G? G, now you see this would make me question you. Are you a spy? How you know this? How you know? Look it up. I don't want to look it up, G. I don't want to look it up right now. You gonna tell me to look it up? G said Chinese. Hey, that's crazy though. I didn't know that though. That's why it's always good to have somebody in the chat, man, who can give you another perspective and lens on information. Because you think it's a small thing only in Texas when you have somebody right here, G, saying, yeah, they do the same thing on a larger scale in Toronto, where Chinese buyers buy homes to hold wealth and gain citizenship to benefit. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? And so this person, though, he made a business up in the Texas area. He makes a business of helping people save money. So people who coming from out of state, he runs a consulting business. So people from out of state, because my hand is coming out the camera because my arms are a little long. People from out of state are coming to this guy, right, to save money in college, $100,000 worth, right? And so he was talking about, kind of sound like me a little bit, saying like, hey, they spending, people from out of state though are going to spend a whole lot more. You know me, I'm gonna tell you, if you out of state, don't even come all the way here to go to school because you're going to pay a lot more money. And obviously he knew something I don't know, or he knows something I don't know, because he's like, oh, you could buy a condo, and then you could buy a condo and you stay there for a year, then you'll be considered in state. I'm wondering, so now my next question is, are these students incoming freshmen where the parents are buying the house like the senior year for the student? So the student will do their senior year in Texas. So when it comes around on that 1 year mark, they'll be a resident officially 1 year to go to the school, be considered in state. So I'm wondering, are parents like moving that senior year? Because I've seen that before. Like kids will leave school like their senior year and go to another school in a whole another state. And you be like, what? So G said, I had a friend at Columbia who had his own studio down the street from the school. Studio. I agree the school has to be really, really worth it to do out of state. I don't think they move. You qualify the moment you own real estate. Huh? Hold on. Wait. Okay, hold on. Wait. You qualify the moment you own real estate. Hold on. Oh, I get what you're saying, G. So you saying, G, I don't have to live there physically, but as long as I own the property and I purchase it, like, let's just say it's 2020. I purchased it back in 2024, right, of this time. Change your home address and boom, you're there. So I don't have to be there physically. So if I bought it July? If I bought it July 8th of 2024 and it makes a year today, and then that's what you're saying? Pretty much, G? Like, just get the driver's license and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then technically I'm a resident in Texas that quick. The room is waiting on G. And we're watching. There you go. Yeah, think about what they use to verify your residency. Wow. Gee, I just had a. I think I had. We enjoy you from the South. I just had a slow moment. I just had a slow moment. So I guess I just showed you all that I am a regular person, like I said, normal person, because I don't have multiple properties, and so I didn't know. I didn't know that. You know, I'm gonna hit you with that. I didn't know that. I probably should put down the shirt. I didn't know that. And what do you need for an ID? Should you need your lease? Not your lease, but your mortgage, lease. Yeah, lease if you stay in an apartment. Yeah, 2 proofs of residency. I know in Georgia they ask for like light bill, something like that. Or if you got a house, it could be different. They ask for names on the mortgage and stuff like that. If you got a house, my parents wasn't homeowners, so I don't really know the process if they ask for a house. That is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Gee, you must got multiple properties. You kind of just told on yourself. You must have multiple properties. Excuse me. So and then right here they says real estate agents like Gill advertise a one-stop shop, residency and real estate. One company, Tower Realty. Oh, these are companies' name. One company, Tower Realty, has a clock on this website that counts down to the deadline to buy a home for in-state tuition. Huh? Tower Realty, it has a clock on this website that counts down to the deadline to buy a home for in-state tuition. Others outline the steps from property deed to tuition rebate on YouTube. So pretty much they go on YouTube to know how to do a breakdown step by step. They said we need to find a way to make sure that you and your family are not overpaying for the same thing Texas residents get to enjoy for a far discounted rate. So guys, when I think about that, this is not only in Texas, really. This is in other states. As G gave us the example with Toronto, with China buying up Toronto, buying properties in Toronto. The thing about it though is just go to school in your state. I get like now I could get it. I'm in Georgia. There are not really top schools in Georgia. And if you want to go to the top school in Georgia, most likely it would be like I'm sorry if y'all hear them sirens. But if you want to go to the top school in Georgia, right? I don't even know what the top school in Georgia would be besides like a Georgia Tech. But it's STEM heavy. Like the only reason you need to go there is if you're going to be like a STEM major, engineer, like robotics. Like if you don't want to do that, then it's kind of like where do you go to school in Georgia, right? And Georgia has some pretty good schools. Like they say UGA has a pretty good business school. Only reason I say that because Warren Buffett goes to speak to them. He did it a few times, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely know he goes there though, to talk. And if I'm thinking off the top of my head, what other Georgia schools here? It's not that many. It's not that many. It's not that many, really. And so this is a common practice. I feel like that's important because also, I gotta have something to cook, but it's a common practice that's happening. And G agreed too, like if you're gonna go to school in another state, it has to be worth it, right? It has to be really worth it. But if you listen to these billionaires talk and listen to these other people talk, I'm not saying the billionaires has a voice, but I'm saying if you follow the billionaire, it's always like follow the money. If you follow the money a little bit and you listen to them talk and try to say like, hey, college, some of the schools we went to are not like what they used to be. And when they start saying that, at least on the public side, when they start saying that, like, hey, college ain't what it used to be, really, it doesn't really matter where you go to school, can you do the job? Is when it starts to get to that point, you need to realize, like, hey, let me save money and go to school in state. Let me start a 2 year and go to a 4 year. And you can always go to a nice 4 year you want to go to it as long as you got the money. But a lot of people these days are not thinking about like they can actually save money in higher education, in college. And G posted about 3 times while we were talking. If your home address matches in the state, that tends to be good enough. G said, I agree. If you are going to public school, just go in state. The education is pretty much the same with a few exceptions, like Georgia Tech. But it only matters if you get a scholarship, because even then, I don't think it's worth it otherwise. Sometimes I believe they are either blissfully ignorant or malicious aware, depending on who they talking to. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all business, right? That's what G was talking about. G brought up that good point again. Like, if it's a school like Georgia Tech, we're talking about blue chip schools, guys, like big public schools, like not Ivies right now, but blue chip, blue chip bit schools. And when I say blue chip bit schools, these are schools that are not going to go away. These schools are going to be thriving no matter what. Like, people are still going to go there. It's just like you think about a big company like Amazon, or whatever. People are mad at Jeff Bezos, right? But people are still going to shop at Amazon, and because he has that blue chip status. If you are that big enough where you force the consumer to have to use your product or believe in your product, they're going to go in. They're going to go anyway. And so G, that's what G is aiming at when we're talking about that, and that's what he leads into saying blissfully ignorant or maliciously aware. And so these people are making business off of this. Are these, like, one guy said he created a business literally to help parents save 6 figures in money to go to a school out of state. Instead of him saving himself the time, he said, no, I'm gonna make a business and say, look, we can find you a way to go here. And probably got them signing all kinds of contracts or disclaimers like, hey, if we can't make this happen, then hey, you still gotta, no refunds or something probably. But the fact is, how this way it makes you think like it's all business, because the college has to be in cahoots with him. He has to have the connection with somebody in the university of that school in Texas, because how do you know if they're going to give you that residency status unless you know someone on the inside? That's an inside job easily, because that's too big of a risk for a family to possibly move all the way or buy a condo, buy something just to hope they get in-state tuition. I'm just saying. It could be some more context on that, but I'm just saying that would make me think a little bit. But that's his business though, out there in Texas. And then G said, I'm talking about billionaires. They don't really want competition, so why would they give you all the sauce? That is true, G. I'ma love that. That's true. True. That's true. G said they don't really. So when G was talking about, sometimes I believe they're ignorant. They are either blissfully ignorant or maliciously aware. And G was talking about the billionaires right there. And he was like, they really want. He was like, they really don't want competition, which is true, because if now you got me thinking, G, why you told me that? Now you got me thinking another way. Now you got me thinking another way. See, G is making me go back to the education is important, because G is like, billionaires telling you don't go to this type of school because they don't want you to go and build something similar to what they are doing. And everybody knows that these guys are piranhas. If you think it's not competitive, like, I'm competitive. And I be looking for a challenge. Why? Because competitiveness always, everybody loves a good trash talker. Everybody loves a good like, oh, they going at it. And then so it helps build up like rapport, right? Like, and so G's like, look, these billionaires don't want no competition because they get to keep all the money. If they got people entering their market and learning what they learn, then they got to share the money. They don't want to share the revenue. They don't want to share that cash flow. And so, G, I see what you're saying. So he like, look, don't go to these big schools. Come work for me. Don't get an education. We'll hire you. Now you got me thinking, G, like Google, and I think you said Google one time, G. I think you said Google was like that. But I know for sure, uh, the company I talk about for sure is doing that. They don't want you to get an education. Yeah, Google does do that. Yeah, I was about to say, I remember you saying Google. They don't want you to get an education. Cause then I said that too, I think. I think I said like, yeah, because if you don't get an education, where are you gonna go? Like, if you don't, like, this the only place that says, look, it traps you essentially. You don't need an education. Come work for us. Then if you try to go somewhere else, they say, oh, you need an education. Now you stuck because you only can stay to them and forced to work with them. And so G said, but software development is a little different. Okay. Because G went to school for computer science, guys. You said that a lot better than I thought you would, for real. I appreciate that, G. Even though some billionaires probably think you'll never reach their status, even with all of the sauce. Exactly. They are very competitive. That's why they buy up competition before they get too big. Yep. They do, however, snatch up the talent so that they don't go anywhere else. Yup. That's why they go to I remember I was at Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech has like these, they call it Tech Talk. I can show you actually, G. It's kind of, that's why I keep stuff. It's called Tech. Hopefully it's showing on your end pretty good. It's called Tech Talks Business. And I used to go to these. It's public. Actually, I plan on going back to some. Hopefully, when I figure out what's gonna be my revenue driver, because right now I'm doing swing trades and stuff. I can't say that. I got into a play, and so it's already up pretty good. I got my percentage and my exit price, so I'm gonna start doing that in the meantime as a part-time thing. But when I went to that Tech Talks business, I'm gonna hold it. So when I know what I'm editing, it's probably a good clip. When I was going to these Tech Talks business, the CEO and his CTO at Home Depot, they came and talked at Georgia Tech. They were literally doing like a sales pitch, and it was open to the public. And it was like, this is where I understand, G, why it's important to go to a bigger school a little bit. This is why I understand like connections, right? Because I can only imagine, like, once again, what type of people you had coming and talking on a regular basis, right? Just like you can be walking on campus, and then like literally, I was like, I knew about it, but I seen students. Like I talked to one kid. This is a good story too. So I was talking to one kid, right? He was sitting next to me. So we're there. We're watching the CEO talk, the chief technology officer at Home Depot talk, and then they got the interviewer there. Shout out to Georgia Tech. They got the person there doing the interview, and the guy sitting next to me, he was Indian demographic. And I asked him. I said he looked older, but I was like, "How old are you?" He was like 18. I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "You here at Georgia Tech?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What you majoring in?" He was like, "Planning to do business." And so I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "What made you come to this?" And then, because I was writing down stories at one point when I was talking to students, and taking notes in my head and remembering the conversation. And so he was like, "Oh, I was just walking down the street. I seen the sign, and so I decided to come to it." And then, because he a student, it's free for sure. And then the whole event was free. It's sponsored by Georgia Tech, so that's good. They allocate their money to get these type of people to come talk. But of course, they got connections because, like G said, that's what made me think of it. They want to buy up the talent. They want to like have the talent before they hit the they want to get him before he hits entrepreneur status. And G said exactly. Nowadays, everyone has a bachelor's, and that's why schools are more important than people realize. Some jobs won't look at you if you don't come from a specific school. That is true. That is true. A certain company won't look at you unless you come from a specific school. That is true. That is true. Like if I wouldn't be surprised if I applied to a job like Goldman Sachs. For all my people that know Goldman Sachs, and they see that I went to Valdosta, they would say I went to a 2 year. I went to Valdosta State, then I went to Georgia State. Honestly, what's helping me probably because they looking at that Georgia State that he knows that's an R1 school. Like we'll bring him in for an interview and see what he knows. Because that's why it's good. That's why I did the ladder, guys. I call it the ladder. And I'm gonna get back to G because he said something else too. I started at a 2 year. Nobody knows that 2 year. Then I went to a 4 year. Some people might know about that school. Then I went to the Georgia State. That's a pretty known school. So I went from that's why you got like Division 1, Division 2, and da da da. Like some of this stuff matters a little bit. But guys, I took the ladder to the top. And looking back, if I felt more confident in my intellectual, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably would have tried to go to Ivy. I probably would have expanded my skills a little bit and tried to go bigger or go to a bigger university public because it's just like the information is like college is not that hard. It's more like how you learn once again, and then the reward is so amazing. And G also said Forex trader now, okay. Definite swing. I think you meant to say. You said Forex trader now, okay. He said Forex trader now, okay. Different swing. Did you meant to say swing and career choice? LOL. You talking about me, G? When you said Forex trader, I'm not a Forex trader, G. I'm not a Forex trader by far. Oh, swing. Oh yeah. Yeah, hold on right quick. Let me turn it. The sun moved on me. 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 I don't know. We'll see. That's why I moved the time. That is exactly why I moved the time up. So I can see when the market opens. Because when I was starting at 9:30, the market opens at 9:30 and I don't know what's going on. So in the morning when I wake up before 9:30, of course, that gives me time to see like what's gonna be down and like let me enter a play. I got my plan on the board. I can't show you yet, G. I gotta watch and see how it plays out, and I'm noting down everything when I'm taking profits, how everything is scaling. And so let's keep going, and then we'll see, because that's exactly part of the game plan too. Definitely good financial acumen. Appreciate that. I don't know if that was for me or just saying in general. Appreciate that. I try, G. I try to keep it simple, man. Warren Buffett philosophy. Cause guys, education is all education, and so education is education. This is one of the books I'm reading slowly, and as I showed you, I'm reading this one right now. This is a very small one, but this is teaching like short-term strategies. It's pretty good so far. Some stuff I already know in it. This one right here is a headache a little bit. You read the first? You already read this one? Yeah, I'm working my way through it, G. As you see, I'm just starting. You know I'm honest, G. I'm not gonna be like, I read this, I read that. No, I'm working my way through this one. The goal is to be a little like not halfway, but at least in the early, have a lot of the early chapters done before school. But school starting next month, so we'll see how that goes. Scratching my head on that one. And so it's a good book though. I'm looking forward to it. Was The Intelligent Investor a good book, G? Let me know what you thought about it before we go back into our segment. Yeah, you honest. I don't count a book read unless I read it 3 times. Dang. You do that too? You do that? I heard somebody say that before, G. I heard somebody say, I read that in one book. I'm not gonna tell you what book I read it in. I can't tell you. I read that in a book. Somebody said, you think you read a book until you read it 3 times. And I want to say it was the book I just finished. Yeah, it was this one. It was this one. It was this one. I just finished this book, and they said it was like something about, yeah, my English teacher senior year wrote an essay for a book that talks about that. Oh wow, G. Now you got me going back. So should I go back and read my other books? This all pertain to higher education. So should I go back and read my other books I read? I read them one time, G, and I put them down. Should I go back and read them 2 more times? And I think it depends on the book. Oh my goodness. G. Y'all hear G? G said read 3 times. Then G said, it depends. It depends on the book. Now it got me like, this is what I'm gonna do. Not all books are worth the 3 times. Yeah, that is true. Like the Cat in the Hat, would you need to read it 3 times? Well, maybe it might be that little part that I forgot that the cat said don't do this, and I still did it. I might need to read, catch that little part. But no, you don't need to read Cat in the Hat 3 times. No. And so the TED Talk business, guys, it goes back to higher education because, like I said, I was talking to the Indian student, and he was planning to be a business major, but this is before I really like clicked with me and like the financial instruments of stock market. Because guys, I'm gonna tell you now, like when you're around people with wealth of knowledge, and I'm pretty sure G can tell us too, when you're around people who has a wealth of knowledge, the stock market just comes up. It just comes up. Don't ask me how, it just comes up. Because I think it was that somebody asked a question about their stock and that it was not looking good, but Home Depot, if you know, is in that consumer market, so it goes in cycles, right? And so just like anything else, but it has a different cycle from the technology sector. And the kid, so I guess that's how we talked about it. And then the kid was telling me when to enter the video, because I told him, I was like, you seen the video, you seen that run? I was like, you got in it before it did the run, right, and went to like $1,000. He was like, and before the split, he was like, nah, I missed it. He was like, but I'm in it though. He was like, for the long term, I'm in it. But he's 18 years old, right? He's 18 years old. He's well versed in the market. And I was like, I get excited about that. I don't know why I just get excited, because he still goes to college. He could easily be like, I don't need to go to college, I'm making money, buy and hold. I don't need to go to college. He's going to college. And we think we don't have to go to college because, especially in our community, especially in the black community, we think we don't have to go to college because you're making money. When that's a one form, once again, that's one form of a power, guys. You don't want one form of a power. Collect your infinity stones. Did you learn anything from Thanos? Did you learn anything from Thanos in the Avengers? He could have been good with one stone and still beat everybody. He did. Right, G. Am I making sense? Sometimes I gotta ask, am I making sense, G? And G said, I would say the intelligent investor is kind of sort of outdated, but in principle, it's pretty good. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because when I was reading something yesterday about that. They were talking about the SPX, the spot index. And I was like, whoa, this is like, because the number was so low, and I was like, we in the thousands now. And I was like, hold on. So yeah, some of it is outdated, but I'll keep that in mind, G. When you I would definitely keep that in mind. The principle of it. And so, guys, with higher education, as you can tell, we're talking about wealth information. We're talking about wealth of dollars, right? But again, Texas is the wealthy families are buying homes in Texas. And then as I keep going, I want to see if it's a lot more information in here. But if we have to keep going, because like I said, guys, we are at an hour, and I don't think there's gonna be a 2-hour screen, to be personally honest with you. And so and I will change this, G, because we had that conversation. I'm gonna call it wealth of information. I'm gonna say wealth of education. So we talked about that. So what I'm gonna do, G, because it wasn't that much information in higher education, really. In my where I get my main information from, that I get my information from. Yeah, let me just say that, when I get my information from. It wasn't that much there, and it wasn't that much of a post. Like nobody really wasn't posting anything. So instead of saying it's quiet, I'm gonna change that to what I'm gonna do. Wealthy families. This is gonna be first. Dr. Matthew Soldner news. That can stay. The last one is gonna be wealth of education. So it's gonna be 3. No, that's gonna be 2. No, that can stay 2. That's gonna stay 2. That's gonna be 1. That's gonna be 3. And not wealth of information, the wealth of education. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call that. I'm gonna change that last one because we had that conversation. And so, and I did see some other posts that caught my attention on LinkedIn. I actually have to go back to it, and then we can go from there until G says, all right, I gotta go. I'm out. Peace, chicken grease. But G did say right here, I always ask myself why wealthy families find that worth. I always ask myself why wealthy families find that worthwhile to do to begin with, other than that's what their child wants. But I suppose it becomes a bigger deal when everyone's child wants to. I can understand private schools, but why public school? You talking about in college, G, or you talking about K through 12? And while I pull this up, buying a property. Yeah, public. So how can I put it? It comes in that perspective, G. If I'm using my mind in education, right? With public schools, some people, it's simple. Really, I keep it white and black sometimes. Some people believe in public schools. Some people believe in private schools. And so some people just feel like their kid can get some street sense, some common sense. Like from when I talk to families, I talk to a lot of families because I work in higher education. I talk to a lot of families whose parents are well educated. Of course, their kids about to be well educated, but the parents are well educated, and a lot of parents know they shelter their kids. They know their kids are very sheltered, and they say, "Oh, they don't have." The parents be like this. They don't know much. They be like, not much like in school, but they be like, they don't know much about like, the common like, don't talk to somebody if you don't know them. Not that type of stuff, but like, hey, if this is happening, you need to do this. Like just common sense of real life things that their kids don't have because they sheltered them and made sure they had the best for them. So they feel like they go to a public school, they can gain some of that real life, right? And then private school, I'm not saying private school is not like that, but I feel like a private school will be more gated and very gated, and I can't go jogging on your campus, right, at Columbia because it's private. I have to run around the campus. But on public campuses, I can run on public campuses and nobody's gonna ask me nothing because it's public. So things like that, right? Simple like safety concerns and more safe. And then right here, G said for college, and they do it for K through 12. But I kind of understand that if not wanting to send your child to private K through 12, actually not true. You can actually attend a class at Columbia. I was talking about running, G. If I wanted to run around y'all campus, like I'm pretty sure, can I run on y'all campus, G? Even though I'm not a student there, can I just run on y'all campus? Is it that easy to get on Columbia campus? That is not safe at all. Tell me that's not a problem, G. When I was there, then, G said when I was there then, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Supposed to be private. I don't supposed to be getting on the campus that easy. That's another topic to talk about. That is another topic to talk about. Safety Campus safety, because I'll be questioning that. Oh, I question campus safety so much. But since all the commotion in New York City, not so much. There's a lot going on in New York I've been seeing. And so, how you feel about this, G? So I had saw this post. Where is it? How you feel about this? Where is it? Give me a few seconds, G. I thought it was funny, if you ask me. At the time, safest campus in New York City. They need to put more money into defense. They built such a bad reputation, nobody wants to defend the people no more. It had to be open. That is not the post I wanted. Or I did not want to go. I've been noticing LinkedIn has been taking me to people's actual page. And I have not been wanting to go to people's pages. I've been wanting to click on the post. I don't know if that's a LinkedIn update. They should fix that. So, all right. So G, at the time, secret and undercover agreements. So G, how you feel about this? Syracuse University football is entering a new era. I wonder what it's like to run in New York City, though. So, G, how you feel about this? Syracuse University football is entering a new era with the 76,500 square foot second phase expansion of their athletics complex. I'm going to put it right here for you to see. Well, not see, but definitely something for you to read. And so, Syracuse, yeah. It says the facility, I bet it is. I never ran in New York. I only been running in the South my whole life. I never ran outside of Georgia when I think about it. No, I ran in Florida, of course, military. I ran in Florida and stuff, but it's all the South. I just ran in the South. And yeah, G. So they said this facility, Syracuse University, the facility includes spacious culture offices, advanced hydrotherapy features, updated exam rooms, a theater-style lounge, inspirational locker rooms, training areas, nutrition stations, dining halls, renovated weight room, create a streamlined space for performance and recovery. G, it's for the Syracuse University. How you feel about that? It's for their football team at that. Syracuse is not even good at football. Syracuse not even good at football. Oh my goodness. Gee, they're not even good at football. But they're doing this. And then, I just really question things like this. Shots fired, LOL, but it doesn't surprise me. Look, they got they added barber chair. They didn't say that in the post. They got where the students, I guess, they play football. Plenty of schools use sports to attract students. What? Tell me about it. Tell me. I can't tell you how many times I've seen students say they want to go to this school, that school, just because of the athletics. And then on here, I'm looking at it on LinkedIn, G. They got a barber, it's like a barbershop room, I guess, where they want to get their haircuts or tell their barber to come. They can get a haircut there. They got a game room. If their academics are not on par with Ivy's, they are fighting for the scraps. And it's in New York. I thought Syracuse would have had a pretty... Didn't you say Syracuse is pretty good, though, right, G? Because it's up there in New York. Syracuse has a pretty good curriculum, right? Education curriculum. The locker rooms is crazy. See, that's what makes me realize, G, looking back at it, this what makes me realize, now I do tell students to go to a 2-year. I tell students to start at a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year, right? About affordability. But if you are a student in a different situation, yeah, it's not horrible, but it's no Columbia. If it's not, if you're in a situation and you have funds, I'm pretty sure you know this, but not you, G, but people, believe in yourself if you are a regular student, but you got options to go Ivy like G, for little to nothing, right? Please take the opportunity to go get a great education. I'm not saying we don't get great educations because I got a great education at starting at my 2 year, bridging to my 4 year, bridging to my graduate school. It's all because in my eyes, G might say Columbia got good education, great education, but I'll debate G on that. G, your schools ain't got none on my schools, G. I'm gonna tell you first and foremost. I'm taking a shot at your Columbia. Cause you know Columbia, I don't even know if y'all even use textbooks out there. I think y'all just read off of straight tablets out there. I don't think you all even have the curriculum of a great 2 year college. I don't think you all have the demeanor of a 2 year college. And then G said IT has a 41% acceptance rate. IT with a 82% graduation rate. IT. IT. What's IT? Oh, I mean Syracuse. Okay. Syracuse has a 41% acceptance rate with an 82% graduation rate. It's almost a C. I mean, people barely graduating, which means they're probably partying too much. And G said we also have textbooks. I'm glad you heard me, G. I didn't think you heard me when I said that. And so as I'm looking through Syracuse, they're highlighting like their NFL stuff. But once again, like I said, I don't remember the last time I heard Lord. I don't remember the last time I heard Syracuse really doing anything in football. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. Would I apply there? Probably free money, till they say, oh, we got to cut you, because we can't really afford you, and all the good stuff. But I just don't remember the last time I heard anybody coming out of Syracuse. Like, if you commit to Syracuse, it's because they're paying you money at this point. Like, to play football, they're paying you. Like, unless you just want to play for Syracuse. But I think it's a garbage move, personally, and I probably would clip this and say it's a dumb move on Syracuse because Syracuse has a terrible football program. Like right now, I'm going to review this right now. Like, this is stuff I be talking about. They wasting money on things like G said, look, their education curriculum is not on par. Guess what they do? They tend to fight for the scraps of and putting money into mediocre things like their football team. I'm gonna type in Syracuse football team. Syracuse. And right here. Now, don't get me wrong. I hope they had a pretty good football team the past year. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna say football record, yeah, because and so apparently they went 10-3 last year. Okay, they were pretty good. Syracuse was pretty good, but let me tell you why it's dumb. Because Syracuse probably is not gonna perform the same this year, and I put money on that. I would put a whole investment on that. Like, they went 10-3, guys, but this is where it all gets like funny because they didn't make the college playoffs probably, and they all of a sudden they had one good year, and now they think they can, just go and upgrade their team like that. The schedule, they didn't play nobody really, and so I just don't think it's a good investment, guys, to do it right away. And schools usually do that when they have one good year in the sport. They take it so far over the top that you'll think they're going to do it for the next 10 years, and it's not going to happen. Seen it so many times. And so G right now is saying, I agree, they are wasting money. And G said, but they were probably donated that money for a specific purpose. Probably they were. They probably were donated that money, hopefully. But higher education is not, the university is not honest with us, G. So they're not gonna tell us, G, if the money was donated or not, G. We'll just find out later when they're cutting staff and all this other stuff and they're struggling to pay for money. But I know Syracuse is a private entity. And I know Syracuse also, I know they what's that I was gonna say? Private entity. football mediocre. They're private. It was something else I was gonna say about Syracuse, but oh, remember they were the ones doing that financial aid package to get students to come to the school, and so not financial aid. They were just giving them a new package like, hey, my kids should get free. Like they were giving out free tuition to students like last month, and it's past the deadline. It was like last minute packages, and G said, I also think that most people would agree that any Ivy education is superior because if you get into an Ivy or an Ivy adjacent. Did I say that word? Adjacent. I said it right. Adjacent. Hold on. You know, I'm not trying if I don't use a word every day. Adjacent. There we go. Adjacent. Or an Ivy adjacent, you going. Even if it's just for the connections. I agree. They do take it over the top. Yeah, if it's private, they have no obligation. However, most private schools tend to disclose the donations, especially if they are big or the publicity of it. Just for the publicity of it. You had to read the top one too. LOL, you skipped it. Let me see. I seen the boom, boom, boom. Oh, while I do think a Columbia education is superior, I definitely do not doubt you can get a quality education from a 2-year. You sound just like the rest of them, G. Oh, it's good to get a quality education from a 2-year. Y'all gonna put some respect on the 2 years, G. I'm gonna make you respect the 2-year. G, I got this up here for you, cause I don't think you seen it. You seen that in the cup, G? You see that in the 2-year cup? You see that right there? You see that? You see this right here, 2-year? Yeah, you see that? The 2-year gets you this. Nah, it's not real, but the 2-year gets you this, G. This is what the 2-year gets you. It gets you a lot of moolah. Every time somebody says the 2-year gets you a quality education, I'm gonna pull out the money. You know, I'm gonna just fan myself real quick. I'm gonna fan myself. Because G, where G at? Yeah, I actually recommend mostly for people where I'm from to go to 2 years. Start at 2-year. Now, I ain't gonna say you're gonna get this. I'm not saying that. It looks real, don't it? I'm not saying that, but hey, it'll save you a lot. Ooh, it's hot in here a little bit. I gotta cool my wrist off a little bit. Let me cool my wrist off. Why G? Because I hate to say it, but unless you're exceptional and poor, don't go to a 4-year. There we go, G. There you go. Yeah, there go, G. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we keep the money in the cup. That's why we keep the money in the cup. For all my people out there, please start at 2-year. Just start. Please, just start. And then you can still end up at your dream school. You can still end up. That gives you extra time too when you start at 2-year. It gives you extra time to get to Ivy probably, or a bigger university if you want to go. You get time to, like G said, and definitely go to an Ivy because they primarily offer need-based scholarships. That is also something I didn't know about when coming out of high school. Read the second part. LOL. I did read it. G. Because I hate to say it, but unless you're exceptional and poor, don't go to a 4-year. And definitely go to an Ivy because they primarily offer a need-based scholarship. They offer need-based scholarships. That I didn't know about, though. Like I said, the need-based scholarships, I didn't know about that coming out of high school. I did not know about that. Didn't know about it. And so I did want to talk about that Syracuse post. It's many more posts. Let me see if I got another one in here that sparks my eye, that had caught my attention, because I be saving these on LinkedIn for conversations like now. So if you're poor and exceptional, go to an Ivy. How do you know if somebody is exceptional though? Gee, I got a question. How do you know if somebody is exceptional? How do you know somebody's exceptional to go to an Ivy? And if you're poor and average, go to a 2-year. Just to sum it up. Hey, poor and average don't need to go. If you're poor and exceptional, you need to start at a 2-year. Then go Ivy. That's what you need to do. Then bridge to a 4-year. You start at a 2-year, then bridge to a 4-year. And that saves you a lot of money. But G said right here, I just want to know, how do you know if people are exceptional, poor and exceptional? Like, what makes that person exceptional, G, to go to an Ivy? Like, I see a lot of people, like, I think about all the people on YouTube, for example, and a lot of them didn't even go to Ivy. And it's some pretty exceptional people, like these people who can do the stock market pretty well, but they end up going to a regular public state college. Let's go, G. I'm asking some good questions for you. I only say that because Ivies offer need-based scholarships at 100% of need. But how do they know you're exceptional, though? I know you know the answer to that, G. How you know if they're exceptional? And while we wait on G, let me see if we got some more. I got some subtopics in here to wait while G put it together. I want to know how they know if you're exceptional. If you get accepted, LOL. Oh, okay. I was just making sure. Because I'm like, how they know if I'm exceptional? Of course, they know I'm poor, but how they going to know I'm exceptional? Like, I guess when I get into the school, that makes me exceptional. Okay. Hey, this was posted 2 days ago too. This right here. This was pretty important too. 11 schools, including Princeton, MIT, and Yale, were hit with a higher tax on their endowments. Once again, we talked about that. We didn't talk about this, but Princeton, MIT, and Yale were hit with a higher tax on their endowments and investment earnings. Congress exempted wealthy small schools, including Swarthmore and Hillsdale, from the levy. And then G said, I had to mention that, guys, because we're still learning tax endowments. But I'm treating it as a tax. Like, when they make money, they just getting taxed a lot more. And then G said, but what I mean is they have a holistic process through a series of essays. Ooh, how many essays you got to write to get into Columbia? You said holistic. And they compare you to your peers, which is something people don't know. So, essays. I have a friend who went to Swarthmore, so I'm pretty sure I said it right because you knew exactly what I was talking about. Swarthmore is an Ivy too, right? Let's look it up. G gonna turn this channel into Ivy speaking on behalf at the rate we're going with all these Ivies we talk about. That can't be it. Is it Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania? It's very much a private liberal arts. It's not an Ivy though. And Swivy is okay. They changed it. Not an Ivy, adjacent. Yeah, I said it right that time. But Ivy adjacent. So that's interesting. Yeah, I just looked them up. They're very much that's University of Vermont. We're not looking for them no more right now. We did a review on them yesterday. Yeah, Swarthmore College. It's a liberal arts college in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. And so, once again, another liberal arts school. People think I be playing it. Oh, my goodness. It's very expensive. Second tier Ivy. Yeah, I don't know these noble alumni they got up here, but another Ivy, guys. It's a reason why liberal arts is such a beautiful subject to talk about and go to school for, guys. I'm telling you, don't take the liberal arts for granted. It's one of those one of one schools. So we had a 1 minute and 29. let's go ahead and break down our last school so G can go do his business things and I can go do my business things. It's about that time. But G said, when I say they compare you to your peers, I mean people who go to schools like you. Huh. Okay. Huh. Okay. Like high schools, because I'm coming into the school, those type of schools, or you talking about like college? On the need base scholarships. And then I think I know what school I want to look up, guys. We're not looking up Swarthmore because we already know that's pretty expensive because that's adjacent to Ivy, second tier. Words of G. He knew about the school right away. They're not comparing you to. They are not comparing you to Jason, who went to a $65,000 a year K through 12 private school. They would compare you to Jack, who also went to a Title I school. Oh, really? 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 Columbia takes transfers and does the same. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Thought you hit me with the yeah at the end. I didn't know that. Well, I knew Columbia take transfers. I wasn't for sure what type of transfers they would take, but I didn't know. I thought they would compare me to somebody who did go to. I thought when a school like Columbia, off the top of my head, I thought what they would be comparing me to people around the world. That's what I said. Many people don't know that. That is information right there. Gee, hold on. Let me I want to post that. I want to post that. Of course I won't say it's coming from you. Like G, cuz I know G is not your real name anyway. But what I want to do I want to copy and paste that. That's part of the reason they wanted to take hmm. All right. I guess it's my only option. I got it directly from the horse mouth. The admissions officer who read my essay. Mm. Who was the director for my region? Mm. I'm writing this down, by the way. If you wonder what I'm doing, G, I'm writing this down. Moment of silence. From my conversation with her, it sounded like where I was from contributed more than my race. Hmm. They just want more points. They just want more points for comparison to get a fuller look at what you bring to the campus. Dang, man, that's crazy. would compare you to Jack, who also so they are not looking for quotas. Just obviously being black is part of who I am, and as a result impacts what I bring to the campus. The former president of Columbia was actually the lawyer who argued for affirmative action. Shit. G, you got me wondering who you are. If I cross paths with you, I will find you. Just like in the movie, JK. No, but that was really like a moment of silence moment, man. And I really want this chat. Man. That was a wealth of information you just spit. That was a wealth of information you just spit out right there. Like, that was a lot of great wealth of information. I'm going to use that as a quote. And it just so happens to also be the fourth or foremost authority on the First Amendment. Oh, wow. So, G, I'm curious. So, why? Well, you already said you want it. Don't look at me like that, JK. I know. But I'm curious, G. Well, I know why you said you wanted to work for yourself. I see why. He said, don't look at me like that. Yeah, that had me like, I didn't know that, man. That's something that's got me thinking a lot different right now. That's just swing my whole perspective on possibly being an advocate for Ivies. Even though their prices are still too high, I still would advocate for Ivies. Well, for this Ivy, obviously the one you went to, because you're giving me a good run. I don't know. You could be a false advertiser at the same time. You could be a spy. You could be a Columbia advisor or something, just promoting all this information in their interests. But I know you're not. So hopefully, I could be wrong, but I don't know. But I doubt that. Man. All right, y'all. That was a good. Like, you have to be in the chat, guys. I know I was quiet for a minute. If anybody does play this live stream back, just because you could be a wealthy cog in a machine, you are still a cog in the machine. Now that's still good information, though. You're right. It is still good information. It is still good information. If you were still, I didn't know that. I wrote that down, and I'm trying to figure out right now because I wrote that down. Right quick before I break down this school, guys. Once I pick this school. Because I'm about to ask ChatGPT to provide me another school real quick. Where is it? So why it does that, Um, what I mean is, sure, I can get a really good job, but I wanted to do my own thing. I had plenty of friends who, what's that word you meant to say right there? Who ENET? What's that word right there, G? What's that ENET? Oh, enter. I had plenty of friends who enter into stuff like finance and worked 15-hour days. Nah, we got the right idea, G. We ain't trying to work 15-hour days. Yeah, some days gonna require maybe 15, maybe. I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't. Have I ever did that? I had at my last job at Georgia Tech. I worked a 7 to, because I was there past 7. That's already 10. The 7 to 7 is 10. Yeah. I probably said the most I worked was like 12 hours. 12. I feel like when you do the math, I feel like when you do the math, you're not making as much per hour, and I guess what it could lead to could be worth it. Now you're right. You When you working so many hours, that's a whole conversation. G, that's a conversation, but that still depends on the whims of the executives and the leadership. Yeah, I feel like that too. Um, when you work, right, sometimes I feel like people don't have goals on what they're working toward. If I had to talk about it real quick, I got the school up here, and I don't think working 15 hours a day is bad. I think that time is better spent on doing something you love. That is true, because and if that makes you wealthy, all the better. And it makes you wealthy, all the better, right? Because everybody has their different motives, right? Some people are not money driven. One of my buddies in law school, I just told him, I was like, I wonder what you would be like if you was money driven. He's not money driven. He's more like changing. He's more of like changing, you know, how we can make the United States better. That's exactly it. I agree. No real goals for yourself other than the goals set before you. And yeah, he's more like, how can we make America better, right? And how can we make it better for people who don't have much, right? Helping people, you know. That's one of the reasons, if we go back to like talking about speaking on behalf, why I started it. And then G said, I've seen time and time again, even with the cream of the crop, you've seen it, and especially I know you've seen it because I know I've seen it. And it goes back to speaking on behalf. Like speaking on behalf, like I am a kid, and G, you probably as well. Like you told me your stories in bits, right? Um, when you come from like poverty, low income, Session 8, whichever one, right? We get the gist of it. It's like you're at the bottom and you don't realize how much you don't have resources until you go into some resources. And when I always say, when I started at my 2 year, it was like being a kid in a candy land. Hey, Alice Marie, thank you for making it with us. And so it's like being a kid in a candy land. And I just know a lot of kids, man, they can't. I don't even believe in the word can't. But I say can't because they don't have the freedom to let their mind go. And when I say let their mind go or advance their mind, they're just stuck there. Like they don't believe they can go to college. That's like the worst feeling. They don't believe they can go to college. I know we talked about that before, but it's really like that's why we started speaking on behalf, so they can go to a 2 year bridge to a 4 year. Or now that G said, I quote, they are not comparing you to Jason who went to a $65,000 a year K through 12 private school. they would compare you to Jack, who also went to a little, not little, who went to a Title I school. Yeah, definitely gonna have to post that, G. That's going on LinkedIn hard. And I'm gonna just say at the bottom, I'm gonna say just one of my live stream. What do I call it? I don't even know what the call is. One of my live stream chats, like, said this right here. They went to Columbia. I'm like, that is crazy. And so, G said, I know a lot of people, I think we talked about this, who went into Harvard, Yale, and Columbia Law with these flowery goals of changing the world and end up still having to work these corporate jobs. That's the reality of establishing yourself in law and paying off those loans, because there is no pay in the nonprofit work. They are not because it simply isn't fair. Yeah, it's not fair. And speaking on behalf, because I do not want people thinking it's like just for low income people, because as we just talked about, I don't think we talked about this one, but like I mentioned it. I don't know if I was in here by myself, but people can still have money and still not. People can still have money, but still fall into student loan debt. Like I said before, I spoke at one high school. This lady, her daughter went to Howard, but her daughter had a lot of student loans. My goodness, the damage was already done. It wasn't much I could do for that, because my goal is to catch it before that, because there's already people in that line of work who can help you supposedly cut down your debt. But that's such a difficult business, and shout out to them if they can actually do that, because when you teaching somebody to chop down their debt, it sounds simple, but you have to deal with so many human behavior problems that you might as well say you signing up to be a therapist, because people have, as we know, people have very human behavior problems like spending habits. They have relationship habits, bad habits of thinking and choices. Like, some people, you have to really talk to them and be like, what's your decision making process like? And so, but speaking on behalf is just to help these kids, these parents save money in school. If I can save you $10,000 and more, which I will, if you started a 2-year and then bridge to hopefully a decent 4-year, if you want to go bigger, like have them Ivy dreams, I support you. But you won't hear it come from me first and foremost. And so, G said also, Columbia University offers a 100% need-based scholarship to students whose families earn less than $150,000 annually and don't accept. No, don't accept. And don't. No, you said. Oh, don't it? Did you mean don't exempt, G? No, I said that right. Don't accept a parent contribution if they make less. Oh, they don't. I think you said it. But they don't. I'm gonna say, and don't accept a parent contribution if they make less than 66,000. Yeah. Oh, don't expect. Okay. And don't expect a parent contribution if they make less than 66,000. Yeah, I would have been on that 100% need-based scholarship at Columbia, because I definitely won in that category. But like you said, people don't know that though. Like, it was told to me, like, hey, Columbia, like, this much. It wasn't even advertised to me, like to go to Columbia or anything. Coming out of high school, told y'all that story. Of course, when more people come, I could talk about that story, but I told them didn't know my dad. Oh, didn't know my dad, and they didn't try. I think they even say not try. That P in that. Well, try, yeah. Wow. Alice Marie, you missed some good conversations in here. Me and G had some good ones going. It's all gonna always relate back to higher education, because at the end of the day, I gotta say my slogan: Started a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year under the articulation agreement. Saves you $10,000 and more. Please do it. It saves you. It helps you. Even if you don't have $1,000,000 to go to school, if you don't have six figures dollars to go to school, if you got 50,000, we can do that. But hey, if you got real world problems out here, we can help you get those real world answers. Oh, that's a real word? I didn't know that. I didn't know pride was a real word. I didn't know that. I'm glad you caught that, G, because I was like, pride? And face expression probably gave it away. Emory was the only school who still expected something from my dad, which got them immediately out of the running. I meant pride is a real word. Yeah, I'm seeing that now. I'm going to look it up real quick before we do our college breakdown. Inquire to closely. Oh, okay. Gee, for a person who went to school for computer science, you do know your words. To inquire too closely into a person's private affairs. I just looked it up on Google myself. I just looked it up. That's exactly what I just looked up. That's exactly what. If I don't know a word, G, I will go look it up. But they didn't think that was a word. I hate to play. What's that game? Scramble. Is it called Scramble? I hate to play that with you. I feel like you would know a lot of words. Where is my chat GPT? They gave us our lotto. So we're about to do. So I got a new game show for you all. Yeah, I used to give speeches a long time ago. Oh, look at you doing debate stuff. So look, it's time to do our daily. Where is it? It's time to do our daily. Spinning the college lotto. I make it a point to be clear and concise. It's always good to be clear and concise, right? So what did your business what's that word? Where did your business ambitions come from? Where did your business ambitions come from? Where'd that come from, G? Natural, gave it a try. How'd that come apart before we do the spending the college lotto? You heard what I said, G? I never actually, no, you already said that. And so, while I write this down real quick, I took a lot of notes this screen. It kind of just grew out of wanting to work for myself, like I was saying. Otherwise, I never wanted to be a cog in the machine. So yeah, guys, we are at the end. Spinning the college lotto. And the college we have that's coming up that we're about to break down is either we could do the University of Tulsa, if I said it right, or Tulsa, University of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, Tulsa. If I said it right, I believe it's Tulsa. It should be Tulsa. I actually seen the University of Tulsa. No, not that part.
Tulsa.
Yeah, Tulsa. And so, where is everything is buffering? And then we got Texas Tech University. I don't know. We talked about Texas schools, and they gave me two choices. And the one I think we should do, I am an all or nothing type of person. You got to be like that. You can't get nowhere in life if we don't take the risk. So let's do I'm gonna do Texas Tech University. Because when I clip this part, I can say Patrick Mahomes went to the school, and that would be. I'm telling y'all right now on the live screen, that's gonna be a good marketing clickbait. It's gonna be very good clickbait. And so, what, July 8th? I could just put it here. We did Texas Tech. Blue is so hard to see sometimes. My pen is in my other book. That's all right. Texas Tech. We're gonna do Texas Tech. YouTube title. Pat Mahomes went there. Get some clickbaits up in there. He went there. And so, yeah, that's a good title. I have heard from plenty of YouTubers that you kind of have to clickbait. There is no real other option. You have to sometimes, man. Like, a lot of people say they come to YouTube for entertainment. I get it. What they don't know is YouTube is becoming TV nowadays. It's how you clickbait that matters. Yeah. Because it's how I clickbait that matters. So we're going to do Texas Tech University. We got to pull them up on a college scorecard. And guys, I am making strides in editing these videos. We are getting real close. I am catching up with myself. Those 2 weeks, man, on military really pushed my editing back because my computer, for some reason, I didn't have no sound on the monitor. So that hurt me a lot. And so, where is the Texas Tech? I know, I'm constantly fighting with an algorithm. And it's, you would think they'll push my video out a little better. Like, all these educators on YouTube, you telling me y'all can't find these people that want to listen to these reviews, or these kids and parents? It's all these parents, older adults. Is Texas Tech not a college? Unless I typed it wrong or wrote it wrong, which I doubt. Maybe something was spelled wrong. There we go. I was like, why I had to scroll down. And this is in Lubbock, Texas. Yep. And then, I see you test some stuff. It's how you clickbait that matters. There is YouTube TV. There is, and it's how the algorithm categorizes your video. You really niche. You need hashtags for one thing, and your titles are super specific. So you saying I should make my titles a little more vague and broad? You really niche. You need hashtags for one thing. Hashtags on videos, do that help? I haven't even seen hashtags on videos before. Now you're gonna have me looking. I don't really see hashtags on videos, G. When people be posting their videos. He said the titles are super specific. So give me an idea, G. Like in your Big Beautiful Bill video, you should type that out rather than the initials. Yeah, then I had to shorten the other parts of it too. I'll go and change those too. The ones I did do that. More people use hashtags than you would realize. I didn't even see that. I'm gonna have to go look a little harder now. I'm gonna go look a little harder. Back to this live screen. Cause it's like figuring out a formula. I think you know that though. It's like figuring out a formula. Then once it clicks, it just starts getting there. So we're gonna do the University of Texas, not University of Texas, Lord. We're doing Texas Tech University, the school where Patrick Mahomes attended. So Google. So Texas Tech, I didn't really pay attention to Texas Tech until you went there. There are YouTubers who talk about it. Yeah, they don't want to give all the information, right? They got some other noble people up here. His last name is really Husband, Rick Husband, like an astronaut. Barry Corbin, George Eats. Pick a few hashtags and just keep using the same. All right, I'm gonna try that. But the hashtags go in the I'll go see. I think I know where they go. Yeah, they not gonna give all the sauce, but the nuggets, right? And then they expect me to put the pieces together. Typical. And so, as we're breaking down the tuition and fees of Texas Tech, guys, we also have to look at and go through our little process, because on the College Scorecard, Texas Tech University, that is how you say it, right? Yeah, Texas Tech University is a special destination for Hispanic serving institutions, which makes sense because it's in Texas. So their graduation rate is a failing grade. Why? Because it has 66% out of 100%. They're slightly above the midpoint, 58%, but their graduation rate is 66%. And their average annual cost to go here is $20,000. Let's fact check that. Let's see if Texas Tech has their information where we don't have to go through so many loops and hurdles to find the research. Let's see if they set it up for us properly. So Texas Tech, where is it? I just was on there. Oh, there you go. So the cost to attend, I had typed in tuition and fees. I typed in Texas Tech University tuition and fees on Google. And where is it? Let me slide over here. Put it next to College Scorecard, so I have to go all across the world. So it says right here, why is my screen zoomed in? Zoom out a little bit. It says right here, undergraduate. As you know, when we break down schools, colleges, undergraduate, we usually focus on undergraduate, so which is like your first 4 years of college. And so it says right here, perfect. Texas Tech has done something beautiful for us, guys. They put it all in one for us, so we don't have to go around the world. So they said on campus, if you do tuition and fees, it's gonna be $11,000, pretty much $12,000 if I round that. It's gonna be it's gonna be $12,000 for tuition and fees at Texas Tech alone. That doesn't include housing. Housing is going to be additional $6,500 pretty much. Food is going to be an additional $4,000, and this is for your total year. So, and this is for year 2024, 2025. Keep in mind, Texas has frozen their tuition, guys, but that was like a year ago. That could be over now, because I seen some with the Texas Regents on the board, the system board regents for Texas, like university system. They said they were going to raise tuition. They plan to raise tuition for this upcoming year. They planned on it. Keep that in mind. And that books and supplies are looking like $1,200. That's what they're saying. They also factor in transportation. They said miscellaneous. I wouldn't count miscellaneous, but miscellaneous, they're saying like that's how much you can pay or the school can charge you potentially. So they're saying if you stay on campus, because I always factor in on campus, guys, because for some reason you like to stay on campus. When I say don't stay on campus, for some reason you think staying on campus is the whole college experience when it's the worst college experience and nightmare for you. Um, you're looking at about $28,000 for the year. So if I do 28,000, well, really you're looking at about 29, but 28,525 divided by 2, you're looking at about $14,000 per semester. Guys, don't do it to yourselves. Don't do it to yourselves. Don't do it to yourselves. And then right here, we got some in here right now from one of our people. Just a few extra pieces. So I'm gonna come back to that. G, because I don't want to have to keep finding this when I'm editing. I'm gonna come back to that real quick before we close out. Keep them in there. If it's on your mind, just put it in there. And so 14,000 per semester, guys. And so, but Texas Tech said on the college, well, according to the U.S. Department of Education College Scorecard, they said we're looking at about 20,000 a year. Texas Tech said we're looking at about 28,000 a year. Now, granted, they could be factoring in if you're like a financial aid student, or like G said, Ivies do this thing called need base. You could be a need base, or whatever you plan on getting money. They always discount it, but you looking at Texas Tech, you're looking at about 28,000, and then 14,000 per semester. And so right now they saying you can earn about, oh, you good, G, you good. And then when you, oh, my eyes getting to me, guys, might be the lights. But when you go from your, I don't want to talk about you going from where. So when you're 10 years removed from the institution, remember they base this off of if you're a financial aid student, because like 90% plus students are financial aid students. And they saying after you're 10 years removed, you can make at about or more $62,000, or you could be making below $62,000. But it's over the midpoint of four-year colleges. It's over that. And so that's, I guess, pretty good. But if I do 28,000, guys, times 4, because if you graduate in 4 years, times 4, you're looking at $112 again. Remember, the school we did yesterday was about $111,000 for your 4 years there. So I told you, schools are six figures. They outpaced inflation. Your wages are not matching that, obviously. And so let's keep going. And so graduation rate and retention rate. So the graduation rate, we talked about that. They said students who return after their first year is 85%. That's all right. That's a B. Not nothing crazy there. It's pretty good. Seems normal there. As we keep going, close this out. And then go to financial aid and debt. Students receiving federal loans, they say 44% of them are receiving federal loans. But remember, with the new administration, Trump administration, if you're in a program, guys, and you're trying to get federal student loans, this is going to change real fast. This is going to be, I think a lot of people should know this as I keep reinforcing it. If your program is not making more, they're going to follow a benchmark. If you are reporting to the school that you went to and you did this major, right? You did like me. I'm a liberal arts major. We're going to say liberal arts major. For example, just an example, because I don't want to take no shot at nobody major. If you are a liberal arts major and you report like, oh, you only making $45,000 as a liberal arts major, and many other people are reporting that, and they compare it to how much high school graduates are making, you're not, if high school graduates are making more than the liberal arts major, my major, on the benchmark over time. Like probably after 1 year, probably be like an annual thing. I don't know. They didn't specify, but we're gonna say after a year, after data, your program will not qualify for federal loans, which means you can't get federal loans if you're in this major, which will force you to either change majors or find another way to pay for school if you're trying to use federal loans. Keep that in mind. And if I was you, I would not take out a private loan just because you can get the federal loan. Please keep that in mind. So they said like also you're looking at an average debt of 21, pretty much $22,000. I don't advise you getting $22,000 in student loan debt. I think I took out a low amount of debt to get the car I got. I put a large portion down in cash. So $21,000 on a school education that's not panning out. 22,000 I meant. I keep my eyes on that. Especially if they care more about their sports, definitely keep your eyes on that. Imagine you going into debt for a school that don't really care. They only care about the sports. Pay attention to your education. And we talked about the typical earnings. This school right here is in the C range. They got 79% of the Texas Tech students. They make 79% of Texas. It's so hard to say that, Texas Tech. 79% of Texas Tech students make more than high school graduates. That's pretty low. That's a C. It's not even, it's a high C, but it's a C. So you have a 79% chance of making more than a high school graduate. And they're charging you $100 and what? What my calculator? They're charging you $112,000 over 4 years. So for 4 years at the school. $112,000 for 4 years at the school. It's crazy. And so as we go, we already talked about the campus diversity. I believe are they a Hispanic serving institution? Yes, they are a Hispanic serving institution, meaning they serve a high demographic of Hispanic students. All of their student body is pretty much, not student body as in like teachers, but their students are majority Hispanic. So they have a 71% acceptance rate. And just like most schools now, you can take the SAT or ACT, but guess what? They do not require it. So that is that for Texas Tech with their 71%. Personally, guys, you know me, as I get my review, as I look at Texas Tech tuition, I go off the tuition because I know if I was a student transferring from a 2-year to go to school at Texas Tech, I'm not going here. Now, I'm going to split their tuition because it's 11 grand for the year. I have an idea of what that is, but I'm going to split this 11 grand by 2 because that's for the year. Oh, I did 11,000 times. I did 11,000 divided by 11,000. I'm hilarious. 11,000 divided by 2. So for me, guys, that's too much money. And unless you make a lot of money as an undergraduate student and going to school, that's $5,500 per semester. Remember, my purchasing power when I was an undergraduate, I was working full time and part time, but mostly full time at my university. I could save up $2,500. That's an extra $3,000 I would have to save to pay for school in cash. Because remember, if you go into a school that's more expensive, like Texas Tech, it's $5,000. Your financial aid is not going to cover all that. So you still have to pay the difference unless you got scholarships, right? Remember, use all your resources. But for me, I didn't have all those resources. Like I could have used my full-time job, but I wanted to build this strategy out for you all to show you like, look, I was just using a job and I had Pell and Hope. And Hope is a Georgia thing. But I did that and used my own money to pay my way through school when needed. You don't have to do that. So that should give you more of a reason to save money in school. And to come to the ultimate answer you probably waiting on, I would not transfer to this school. I feel like it's too expensive a little bit. It's a C though. I'm going to give it a C rating because it's doable. Like if you get some scholarships, you got to stay off campus though. You got to stay off campus. If you stay on campus, it's going to be an F. But if you stay off campus, it's a C. It's doable, and you can go to a pretty, I guess, nice school. I don't know what Texas Tech is known for personally. Somebody had to school me on that, but or they have to do an interview. I do an interview with somebody on their campus or something. They can advertise it pretty well and claim why they're worth the price they're worth, but I don't think they're worth that much. That much for sure. And so please keep that in mind when you're going to Texas Tech. It's a C. Stay on campus, F, which is most schools. If you stay on campus, it's an F. So that is Texas Tech University, home of where everybody knows his name, my homeboy, Patrick Mahomes. So going back to G real quick, we've been on the live stream for 2 hours and 16 minutes. Shout out to us. We are not stopping. G said, oh, he was giving me more advice on my titles. G said, I wanted to say before I forget, by the way, your titles are not necessarily bad, not at all. I just need that formula. He said, that formula. Well, I think you got one, just a few extra pieces. Yeah, I'm going to use them hashtags, G. I didn't think the hashtags really help. So I'm going to look up some hashtags that are popular in this area. Because remember, I want to build an organic fan base. I don't want people like we got with the Kevin O'Leary, like Kevin O'Leary. When we typed his name in, we use his name as a headline, we got all the crazy people, right? We got the people who really don't know a lick about higher education or trying to go to school. Just look at your most popular videos. Like I said, I heard that in the passing. LOL, you talk about college. I do talk about college. I don't want people who don't know about college. So college related hashtags. Okay. Yeah. And so I would do that. I would go look at my most popular videos and because it definitely will lead me down a rabbit hole and let me see hashtags. And I'm gonna find it. How many you think I should have though, G? 3 to 4, 2 to 3, 1 to 2. What you think? How many? Before we go. I don't think it matters. Okay. Probably like 2 to 3 and 4. Okay. Add them as they go, probably. Okay. We had some good talks here today, G. We had some good talks on the live stream. You make the live stream a lot better. I'm glad it was a day, but I will do as many that you think are relevant. Okay. Hashtags. Relevant. All right. Don't change them too often to give the algorithm time to see you as a regular for the hashtag. Okay. Even if the video is not as relevant to some of the tags, keep it still. All right. Appreciate that. All right. Appreciate that, G. And that will be my homework to do when we get off this live stream now. So, we will see you tomorrow, G, unless you're busy. Of course, you know what time we're going to get on if I'm a few minutes late. I was trying to find some information. Hopefully it was a wealth of information being posted while we was live streaming. Get off my foot. Overtime. Even when people are not necessarily searching. Get off of here. Over time, even when people are not necessarily searching for a specific tag, the algorithm can still show them your video since it's college related in their history. College related. Okay. Cool, dude. Yeah, it was fun today. I gave you my full attention for many moments. You did. It helped though because it wasn't that much higher education information out there. Like it was some. It's always information out there, but relatable information. Relatable information. So I will see you tomorrow, G. Unless you're busy working, don't work too hard, G. Remember to give yourself breaks. Remember to celebrate with your family, and we will see you tomorrow if you can stop by. I appreciate you. Peace with some chicken grease. That's right. Peace with some chicken grease.